You know what I like best about my job? I get to play around with all kinds of new tech, and today I'm playing with a gaming laptop. But it's not just a gaming laptop because you kind of get the best of both worlds with this machine. This is really good for gaming on the go. It's also really good for video editing, content creation, and a whole bunch of other uses, which we're going to demonstrate a little bit later. Now, today we're going to be taking a look at the Acer Predator Helios Neo 16AI, and this is a really good mid-range budget option if you're looking for a gaming laptop that can do more than gaming. Now, under the hood, we have an Intel Core Ultra 9 275HX, and that's going to give you 8 performance cores and 16 of those low-powered efficiency cores. So that's 24 cores in total. And that Intel CPU, well, it's going to be really, really good for a lot of the video editing that we're going to be demonstrating a little bit later. But that's also paired off with an Nvidia GeForce RTX 5070 Ti. Now, this is the mobile variant, so that means this comes packed with 12 gigabytes of GDDR7 VRAM, but that's more than enough for all of the newest AAA titles, which we're going to demonstrate in just a little bit. Now, this is paired off with 32 gigabytes of DDR5 memory and a 1 terabyte SSD. This is a 16-inch laptop, and I have to say, having it here in front of me, even though this is a little bit larger at 16 inches, it doesn't feel that big. This is 5.95 pounds, which actually doesn't feel too hefty, and this is a really nice monitor here. This is an IPS panel, 2560 by 1600 resolution, so that's going to give you that 16 by 10 aspect ratio. It's going to be a little bit taller than your 1440p, but all in all, it's really good because it has a 240 hertz refresh rate, and I always like to see a really nice high refresh rate in my laptops. Now, under the hood, you also have a whole bunch of other features that we're going to talk about. There's some really good heat pipes and cooling to keep the system running nice and cool. I'm going to see if I can pry this guy open. We'll take a look at that. Now, this also comes paired with tons of I/O, which I always love to have on my gaming laptops. On the side, you have 2 USB-A ports. Over here, you have another USB-A with a 2.5 gigabit Ethernet. 2.5 gigabit, that's the new gigabit at this point. Like anything lower than 2.5, I would say, yeah, that's too slow. So I'm really happy that that's there. You also have your micro SD card slot. It's kind of cool if you shoot on an Osmo Pocket 3, you just want to take your footage, download it directly without an adapter or plugging it in. And it has that 3.5 millimeter combo headphone microphone jack, which I hope never ever goes away. Now on the back here, you have your AC plug, your HDMI, and you also have a Thunderbolt 4. That's actually going to be really, really nice for the throughput that you need for external SSDs like the one I have here, or if you want to add any additional monitors. And then you have a USB-C, that's a USB 3.2 over there, so it's still fast enough. Also comes with a whole bunch of other cool features that I really like. Full RGB, full-size keyboard here, nice and clicky. I like these keys a lot. Numpad on the side, always happy to have that, and you can customize the RGB in the Predator Sense app. You can also customize your fan speeds, you can customize your performance settings and your thermals, so there's a lot that you can play with in terms of maximizing your performance or maximizing the battery life, so there's a lot that you can play with there. 1080p webcam over here with an IR sensor for Windows Hello, so that's always good to have. And there's a 3 microphone configuration. There's 2 here on the top, and then there's 1 here on the bottom. Now this creates kind of a cone effect, so it's only capturing all of the audio that's like directly in front of the camera here. So if you do a lot of Teams and Zoom calls, you're gonna get better audio quality because it's gonna drown out any audio in the surrounding areas and just focus kind of on this cone right here where you naturally end up sitting. Also comes with plenty of AI features, so it's gonna get you that background removal, it's gonna get you that AI noise reduction, and all of that will be powered by the NPU. 13 TOPS of power on that NPU, which is fine. It's a little bit on the lower side compared to some other devices out there, but frankly, for that low-powered usage for those AI enhancements, that's more than enough for what you'll need. Now, all in all, this is a really, really good device with some really good specs, and it's also available at a really good price. So make sure you check out the link in the description below. I think I've talked about this enough. Why don't we play some games and let's dive in and see how she runs. All right, to start us off, I'm going to do Doom: The Dark Ages because this is my favorite game right now. I like this level because you kind of just jump right into the action. So for settings on this game, I am running this at Ultra Nightmare. I have DLSS on, I have frame generation at 4x, and yeah, there we go. Yeah, got him. Let's see. Yep, there we go. Haha. Sorry, I'm just trying to clear the battlefield here a little bit. Performance is looking pretty good though. FPS 136, 148, 136, jumping around in the 130s, 1% lows, 113, 117. I'm really happy with the frame rate here, nice and smooth. Frankly, I played Doom Dark Ages at home, and this is how I play at home. Like, I upgraded to a 5080, I have 4x frame gen on, I have DLSS on, you know, I play at 1440. This feels really good. This looks really good. I got a Hell Knight over here, so let me just take care of this guy. GPU utilization, 95%, 79 degrees. CPU utilization's low, 20%, 88 degrees. That's fine. It's a mobile CPU, can handle it. But all in all, frame rate's looking really, really good. I'm going to turn off DLSS. I'm going to turn off frame gen. I'm going to leave this set to Ultra Nightmare on the settings here. Let's see how we're looking. Oof. All right, so frame rate definitely dropped. So I'm getting 60, 62, 1% lows, 54. So without frame gen and DLSS doing some of the heavy lifting, we're definitely getting a performance hit here. I mean, realistically, this is a mobile, you know, gaming experience, so it's going to be a cut down version of the desktop experience. Yeah, 1% lows, definitely dipping down. Average FPS definitely dipping down. If I was going to play this with raw raster without DLSS and without anything else, I would definitely drop the settings. I'll go for the high settings since that's kind of like the mid-range in that drop-down menu for graphical settings. And let's see how we're looking. So FPS went up a bit, average 61, 65, 59, 1% lows, 48, 43. So for a game like this, I mean, DLSS and frame generation really are doing the heavy lifting in terms of performance. But again, I mean, that's how I play at home on my desktop. Turn it right back on, and let's see how we're looking. Turn this back up to Ultra Nightmare. Oh yeah, now we're feeling a lot better. So FPS, 150s, 140s, 1% lows, 120s, 130s, jumping around quite a bit. And honestly, I prefer this. I know that some people aren't fans of some of the added latency that might come with frame generation, but frankly, you know, from my perspective, I really don't perceive it that much. I'm just bad at parrying, so, you know, it's a skill issue more than anything. Let's try another game, though. So, I have Helldivers 2 running right now. Also, one of my favorite games. I play this quite a bit. And the reason why I like to throw this one in the mix, I know there's a lot of different games that we can demo, but I'm a big fan of this one. It does not have DLSS. It does not have frame gen. It does not have FSR. Oh, I got a bunch of buddies over here, so I'll throw this over here. So that means really all I have is just raw raster when it comes to Helldivers. So, you know, the only sliders I can really play around with are my graphical settings. So I have this set to the high preset. Average FPS, what are we looking at? About 75, 66, 65, jumping around a little bit. But, I mean, first of all, this looks really, really good. Yeah, performance is looking good. I mean, we're in the 60s. Helldivers, you know, it's a PvE game, so anything like 60 and up, I'm kind of fine with. Fortnite, you know, I like really high frame rates, like other, you know, Battle Royale or like competitive shooters, games like that. I definitely want much higher frame rates, but this game, it actually feels pretty good at 60. 76, 75, I mean, yeah, performance is looking really good. I just set this to the high preset. So, yeah, I mean, texture quality set to ultra, a couple of other things, all kind of like put up, put down, some medium, some high, some ultra. It's a mix. I can toggle a couple of things to really tweak it and optimize it for this, but right out the gate, like, this is feeling pretty good. GPU utilization, I mean, 100% for sure. We're definitely hitting it pretty hard because this is full raster. And that's just one reason why I like to throw this in the mix, because when you're looking at a lot of different games, when you're testing out a lot of different games, You know, I like to throw Doom Dark Ages because I feel like that's a good demo of what frame gen looks like. It's definitely one of the better titles that has integrated frame gen that looks good, feels good, like doesn't really hinder the experience at all. I like doing this one because it's a fun game, but also, you know, this really just runs off of raw raster. I mean, that's kind of how Arrowhead has this set up. I don't know if they're going to add any enhancements with FSR or DLSS anytime soon, so this is what you get. But the experience, I mean, this feels great. I would be playing this religiously on this device. One thing I do want to call out, playing on the keyboard on this guy, feeling pretty good. Keys feel pretty nice. Thermals, not really much of an issue. So if you're playing on a gaming laptop for long periods of time, sometimes you can start to feel the heat creep through the device. WASD and kind of everywhere where my palm is resting on the side over here feels pretty good, doesn't feel too hot. Usually you'll see that heat will accumulate in the center here, but even here when I kind of do the little touch test, it's warm, but it's not too bad. I think with a device like this, I purposefully put it on this mat because these mats kind of choke the airflow a little bit, so it has to work a little extra hard to keep it cool, but that's how some people operate with these at home. Something like this, I would definitely have this raised, some sort of laptop stand, something to get a little better airflow in there, and I can already feel the difference in the airflow when I raise this up a little bit versus when I put that down. I can definitely feel that this mat is choking it a little bit, so, you know, some intentional thermal throttling going on. I'm going to move on to the next game, but before I do that, I just want to send a message to these guys right over here. Love to see it. All right, let's try one more game. All right, last one in our lineup is going to be Cyberpunk 2077. You know, this game's already like 4 years old now at this point, almost 5. You know, this used to bring systems to its knees, but honestly, I gotta say, CD Projekt Red has really optimized this to be a lot better. I mean, this runs on a Steam Deck, this runs on a variety of hardware. So in terms of benchmarking, I mean, it's gonna perform on whatever machine that you're running this on. So I have DLSS on, FrameGen on, I do have the Ultra Ray Tracing preset. I pretty much have this cranked as high as it can physically go. And all in all, we're getting pretty good FPS. I have the Steam overlay kind of like going on the top, and it's interesting. So it looks like it gives you the frame gen FPS, but it also gives you your normal FPS side by side over here in the corner. So frame gen FPS, 144, 148 FPS, but our normal FPS, 36, 38. Wow, frame gen is really doing the heavy lifting on this guy, especially when I have the settings cranked so much. I mean, visually, this looks really, really good. Do I have motion blur on? I do, don't I? That's the one thing I'm going to turn off. I'm going to make sure motion blur is off. Yeah, oof. So, you know, what you try to look for is like ghosting and some like artifacts when it comes to frame gen, and I can definitely see a little bit there. I don't know if it's going to come up on the OBS capture that we're doing, especially because I'm doing it at 24 FPS just to match our cameras here. Like, yeah, there's some ghosting. There's going to be a little bit going on there, but that's kind of just comes with the territory at this point when it comes to frame gen. I mean, everyone's been talking about this all year. I feel like this has been covered quite a bit all year. And really, when it comes down to it, when you're looking at a laptop like this Acer Predator Helios over here, I think you already know what you're getting in terms of performance with that 5070 Ti. So, you know, with frame gen on, everything else going, I mean, first of all, the visual fidelity, I'm really happy with it. And our GPU utilization, 98%, CPU is fine, 30%. CPU's not gonna be hammered that much. But really it's a trade-off, right? If you wanna go for raw raster, you're definitely gonna be looking at lower graphical settings. If you want to really crank those settings, especially really on any hardware, then you really wanna introduce DLSS and FrameGen, and you really wanna start playing with those settings and find out what works best for you. When it comes to me and my preference, you know, I like high graphical fidelity. I don't mind FrameGen. I don't mind DLSS, everything about it. I mean, to my eye, is pretty good. I really have to look for it, like, on purpose. It doesn't distract me too much. It doesn't really break my immersion. But again, that's just me. It's a personal preference. So it's one of those things that you really have to try out for yourself. And the cool thing about microcenter, you can come on by, check out all of our laptops, see which one really suits your needs. All right, so one last demo I want to do very quickly. I have Davinci Resolve open here. Now, Davinci Resolve is my editing program of choice because this can leverage several different hardware configurations, especially when it comes to Intel CPUs and Nvidia GPUs. This is a project I have. It's actually running off of the SSD over here, have it plugged into the Thunderbolt in the back. First of all, playback, solid 24 FPS, no frame drops over there. You're gonna get no issues. This is shot on our FX3. So you're looking at 10-bit 422 H.265 footage. That means you need hardware decoding in order to edit that footage. If you don't have that hardware decoding, well, you're gonna run into a lot of trouble. So you're gonna need some sort of proxy workflow. So right off the bat, hardware is running this footage just fine. If I bring this up, you can see some of our CPU cores are definitely helping with that lift, and even our GPU. There's a lot going on there. It's definitely happening in the background. Now, if I go to Davinci Resolve over here, you can go to your decode options. So you can see here, decode H.264, H.265 using hardware acceleration. You have both Nvidia and Intel QuickSync available to you. So you can use either of them. I like to leave them both on and let the machine decide which one's gonna work best in that scenario. But that gives me the best playback. That gives me the best editing experience when it comes to scrubbing on your timeline. I know Puget Systems kind of has a rating system. They sort of have their benchmark system when it comes to DaVinci and Premiere and other things, but I find that you really got to get your hands dirty when it comes to testing out your workflow on a new device like this. You've really just got to load it up, take a project that you've made, try it out and give it a test run and see what the pressure points are. Especially if you're doing something that's going to have a lot of clips layered on top of each other, especially in the color tab, if you're going to have tons of different nodes going for your color grade. And one thing I want to do over here, I'm just going to export a 1080 and I'll just export this onto like the desktop over here. So this is just a 4K export that I'm going to do with the YouTube preset. I'm just going to run this in real time. So you can see, yep, same CPU cores. I see 8 cores that are being utilized most. It's probably those 8 performance cores that are doing some of the heavy lifting. But you can see our integrated graphics on that 275HX, that's being hit, while our Nvidia RTX 5070 Ti is also being hit simultaneously. So 98%, 97% utilization on that 5070 Ti, and those integrated graphics are actually helping to offload a little bit of that as well. So that really does help. When it comes to video editing, Intel Nvidia is kind of like my favorite combo. It really just works best, especially if you're operating in the Windows realm and you don't want to step into Apple, you know, that whole ecosystem. If you want to stay in an ecosystem where you can still do your creative workflows while being able to play games, yeah, this combo works best. And yeah, look, like already done. 4-minute timeline, exported in 48 seconds. No complaints here. Performance in terms of video editing, it's going to work just fine. Now, that Intel QuickSync with that Nvidia hardware acceleration, that 5070 Ti, that's also going to give you some Nvidia decoders and encoders that you can get. So you can use that in OBS. If you want to, do streaming or anything like that, you can leverage your GPU for streaming. But if you're playing a game that is a little bit more graphically intensive and you still want to stream, well, you can rely on that Intel QuickSync to do some of the heavy lifting for the encode decode. So that's something that I like to do to sort of balance what's going on behind the scenes. I'll have my game running on my GPU and I'll offload all of the encoding onto my CPU, because the utilization, as you saw in all of the games we were playing, utilization, it's low. So you have some headroom there to use your CPU for that encode. So if you're big into streaming, this is going to work really well. If you're big into video editing, it's going to work well there too. When it comes to 3D rendering, 32 gigabytes, it's a little bit on the low side. I mean, 64 and up, you're really going to want to look into that for 3D rendering and things of that nature. Just the more memory, the better. But 32, I mean, yeah, you can do it. But again, that's something to keep in mind. All in all, this is what I would still call a really well-rounded device. I mean, it games well, it performs well, it's definitely got the specs that you need to take on the go and do whatever you want to throw at it. There's one last thing that I want to do with this guy, but first, I'm going to shut it down. All right, one last thing I want to do. I want to pry this open. Let's take a look. So I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 screws holding this together. So pretty simple overall. You can see that the foot pads here gives you a little bit of a raised structure for airflow, but that kind of gets counteracted by these soft surfaces of these desk mats. So that's something to keep in mind. Like I said, I kind of did this purposefully to sort of put it in a real world sort of setup where you're going to end up throttling your thermals a little bit just because you have something like this. Definitely it will do better on a hard surface, but it's something to keep in mind. When it comes to gaming laptops, I always like to have them raised a little bit. And I want to pull this off because I like taking a look at what's going on under the hood. I know right off the bat there are 2 memory slots in there, so you can upgrade this to 64 gigabytes of DDR5 memory, and we do sell that at Microcenter, so if you're looking for an upgrade, that's a quick and easy one you can do. And let's just see what else we can see when we open this guy up. All right, got my pry tool. I love my iFixit kit. It makes it so easy. When it comes to taking off a panel on a laptop, little plastic hinges inside, you just gotta get something real fine in that gap and just start prying it open. It's gonna feel kind of snug. You're not gonna break it, but you do wanna be careful. So I'm just gonna take my time, work my way around the edges. All right, look at that. Okay, so let's take a look at what we have here. SSD definitely is going to be under here. I could see our Wi-Fi module over here with our antennas running through. We have our 90 watt-hour battery here. And all in all, looking pretty good. Got the 2 fans over here. These are pretty good blower style. And then we have our heat pipes. So CPU and GPU are going to be located under here. And you can see that the heat pipes that they have here are like a flat rectangular shape. So it's supposed to get better contact with the CPU, GPU, and with the heat sinks on the side over here. So better surface area, better contact, better dispersion of heat across the board. So that's actually kind of a plus. I mean, thermals were actually pretty good. It didn't feel too hot to the touch, so it definitely seemed like it was dissipating that heat pretty well, even though I was sort of choking it on the bottom on the intake. They do use liquid metal as the thermal, compound for the CPU and GPU, so that's something to keep in mind. If you're ever looking to replace that, do be extra careful. I'm not going to take that part apart because I still want to use this laptop and I don't feel like messing with it too much. But if you want to upgrade the memory, that's going to be located under this little flap here. So this is just going to peel right off. You've got your 2 slots, really easy to change out. If you want to swap out your SSD, it looks like there's just the 1 slot. It's going to be located right under here. And they have it wrapped up in a special shielding that's supposed to prevent any interference with like the Wi-Fi card. But you can remove that. You could put whatever SSD that you want if you want to swap it out for a larger size. This is a 1 terabyte Gen 4. It looks like a 2280. So all in all, pretty simple. Little speakers built in over here. Cool. So that's what the internals look like. So that is the Acer Predator Helios Neo 16 AI. And all in all, this is a really good gaming laptop that can do just a little bit of everything. Make sure you stop by your local Microcenter to check out the Predator Helios or check out our wide selection of laptops. And don't forget about those protection plans and make sure you ask an associate about Priority Care Plus. If you don't have a Microcenter near you, then be sure to comment #I want a Microcenter near me.